This is Jonathan Agnew, fifth pro boxing fans, joined by Gareth A Davies for the first time in 2025. Gareth, it's good to see you. How you doing?
You too, Jonathan Nagiev. Go on, you can call me the Gad. You know that you always
Gareth,
do.
Gareth.
You can call me the Gad. I'm very well, thank you. It's been a busy time. I think it's been about best part of a month since we chatted. You look well. It's nice to catch up with you as always.
Yeah, you in the last time we spoke, you were, I think, a day away from going to the Middle East. I think you were there for 3 weeks or something. Good experience, good time.
Fantastic. Had a great time in Dubai doing crypto fight nights. They go big this year. 8 events all around the world. The crypto world with some pro boxers and pro MMA fighters on their cards. They're everywhere from Hong Kong to Vegas to Paris to Cannes to Paris to Istanbul, Dubai. They're all over the place this year, London. So it's fun being involved in that. And then obviously the Riyadh season, the big one to end the year, reignited, and indeed it was. Apart from the first couple of days with Tyson Fury, seemed like he'd taken a vow of silence. And
Mm.
then he exploded at that 11-minute, 37-second face off at the press conference on the night the Ring magazine relaunched. Very peculiar week. But again, a riveting heavyweight contest um, between Fury and Usyk that I had Usyk winning 6 rounds to 5 and one draw, and I don't think there was any doubt about the winner. Apart from that one round that was a swing round, I could have scored it a draw, but then I could have scored it 7-5 to Usyk if I'd given it to him. You were telling me off air that you had it 7-5 to Usyk. I thought he was very smart. He becomes the number one of the era. It was a fascinating week. Moses Itauma emerged to put the whole of the division on alert. And I thought, and obviously it's caused a bit of consternation, well, certainly in one house in Romford, that Dave Allen was a clear winner against Johnny Fisher.
Mm.
For me, I don't know how you saw it, but we can pick over the bones of all of that. No doubt you'll want to for a minute or two.
For sure. Let's start with the main event, Fury and Usyk. Like you say, closer fight perhaps people had it, but I think, looking at social media, most people had Usyk winning. Uh, what do you think's next for Fury?
Yeah, I think most people on social media did have it win, did have Usyk winning, and I think he was the rightful winner. I think the fight for Fury is really Anthony Joshua now. I think it could be his last year. There's still a bit of dog left in Fury, I feel, given his reaction to the result. He felt he'd won. He didn't sound or feel like he wanted to sail off into the sunset. Fury, Joshua is still massive. The one thing I'd say is that fight needs to be signed probably by May or June, because if not, Joshua's been out for 9 months by then, and it's a knockout he suffered at the hands of Daniel Dubois. So hopefully they get that over the line for maybe May, which would be a good time for it in the UK. Outdoors in a big stadium. It's a big fight still. Championship of each other. We don't need a belt for that fight, but it feels like a British bragging rights fight that needs to be completed in this heavyweight era. And it feels like it needs to be this year.
Yeah, I mean, Simon Jordan said it's the battle of the losers. Obviously, it is probably later than anyone would have wanted, and they're probably both maybe not at their peak. But do you still want to see it as much as you did it? Is it like a Calm Brook where it's better late than never?
Well, I think there's a better, there's no better time than this year. I mean, I don't buy Simon Jordan's line on this is the championship of the losers. Still a big commercial behemoth. You look back in other eras, and guys who didn't hold belts still had very high level fights that people wanted to see. Um, they're not always. You don't really need the belts on the line for these guys to fight. I think the idea of Fury now chasing belts again is probably not there anymore. I think Anthony Joshua's made his case plain in his times in Nigeria over the last couple of weeks that he wants this fight. Um, but, you know, the Cape Crusader is not wrong that they're both losers right now. But Fury lost two very close fights to Oleksandr Usyk. Anthony Joshua was eviscerated in 5 rounds by Daniel Dubois. And I think rather than Joshua face Dubois first, you'd rather see him face Fury first. Because if that happens again against Dubois, then he may not want to fight again. And the other thing about it is, I think the fight needs, as I say, the fight needs to happen in the first 5 or 6 months of this year, because otherwise Joshua's been out for too long. Because if Fury keeps that fight holding it on for too long, Joshua's going to have to fight someone else, be that a Dillian White or whoever it be. But it's still a big fight. It's 4 years ago it was bigger. There's no question about that. But then 6 years ago, Deontay Wilder against Anthony Joshua was massive. I think Joshua needs it more than Fury, because for him not to fight Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury in this era, that's not a good look on him in the heavyweight division, for him and on the heavyweight division.
Do you think there's still an appetite to see Wilder in the ring?
Yeah, I think so. I think I mean, well, there may not be an appetite. Wilder apparently still has an appetite to be in the ring. He didn't look to have a lot left against Zhilei Zhang watching it live in Riyadh. He didn't seem to be able to pull the trigger. And obviously, Zhang knocking him out was one of the probably top 10, when the top 10 knockouts of the year last year. And he didn't look great against Joseph Parker either. That was at the tail end of 2023, wasn't it? So I think, yeah. So I would see Wilder in with Joshua if those two really wanted to make the fight, but they might have to make it independently of Riyadh season, and that might not make enough money for them. I don't know if that fight fills out a Tottenham or a Wembley, but I'm sure Joshua would like that fight. Joshua wants Fury and Joshua wants Dubois, but what we need to hear from Fury is that he wants to go ahead with the Joshua fight. It's a very important fight for British boxing. And it's probably towards the end. It's probably the last year, pretty much the last year for both of them. I mean, I'm not retiring them, but it probably close to the end for both men.
So, because Eddie's obviously done some interviews this week, and he said like he hasn't approached Fury, or it's still not the right time to maybe discuss that fight. Is your gut feeling that Joshua Fury will be next though?
Yeah, I think they should be discussing it. I think they should be getting on with it and getting it signed. Fury didn't come out of that fight with massive damage, as far as I see. He just lost a fight that he felt he won, and I was pleased about that attitude he had afterwards. That he felt he won, but he was canoodled and outboxed in the fight. Usyk was very smart up close. He wouldn't let Fury smother him. He gave as good as he got. And a bit more, and he gave as good as he got to the body this time as well. So it was amazing because neither man looked like they got particularly hurt in this fight, which is why I kind of suggested, as the dust was first settling, that, and a lot of people disagreed with me, that I could watch those two box again for another 12 rounds. And I don't say that because I'm a Fury fanboy and I want him to win a fight. I just feel like it's very interesting when those two box. And Fury was clearly better conditioned this time, even though he was heavier. And it was a thoroughly enjoyable chess match. It was really enjoyable.
Mm. And obviously you mentioned Moses Itauma, another incredible performance. Are people jumping the gun by saying he's ready for a new Usyk now, or what? How would you guide him if you were managing him?
Well, if I was the great redeemer, I would guide him not through the barren land. No, I would. He's not ready for Usyk right now. That's too much. But the way he put the whole division on notice and the way he dispatched Dempsey McKean with those two horrific left hands, those left hands from hell, and his balance and his comportment and the way he carries himself in general. He's ready for a Hrgovic. He's ready to step up this year. The problem is once he goes up, he can't come down again. That's the issue. I had this debate with a lot of people, a lot of wizened and sage people in the industry over many discussions. The problem is holding him back because he's got it. He's got everything. The only thing he hasn't got is age, and he lacks some experience. But he looks capable of dealing with anyone. We haven't seen him hugely under pressure. He must have had it at times in sparring sessions, but he looks so good to me, and I really do think before the year's out, he really will be in contention. I don't think he'll beat Mike Tyson's record of being the youngest heavyweight champion by May this year, by the month of May this year. But I think he may well become the second youngest heavyweight world champion of all time, because I think I wrote it down somewhere. In fact, I wrote it in a piece the other day on Moses. Floyd Patterson was the second youngest at 21 days, 21 years and 10 months, I believe. And Muhammad Ali was the third at 22 years and 8 days, I think. So he's got a fair bit of time to do it, given that he was only 20 on the 28th of December. I think he'll become the second youngest heavyweight champion in history. He's very special. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be a real pleasure to follow his career.
Mm. And like you said before, obviously we saw the viral clip of you and Big John Fisher.
What viral clip?
Definitely went viral, Gareth.
Did it go viral? Did it? Okay.
Yep. But in terms of the fight,
Well, look, give me a mark out of 10 for John's clip.
it was very entertaining. I definitely watched it more than once.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I
So
did.
he gets a 9 out of 10, old John, does he?
Yeah,
Or big
it was a good
John?
clip, but it was interesting. Obviously John, it's his son, so he was
Exactly.
very passionate about it. But I guess it's a fight that Johnny Fisher will learn a lot from. If
Yeah,
they
well, he lost it,
do
didn't he?
rematch.
I have to keep going over this. He won on the judges' cards by split decision, but he lost that fight. Initially, live on the broadcast on talkSPORT, which is what Big John had an issue with. I said the judging was a disgrace. Didn't say it was diabolical. It was labeled diabolical. That's what Spencer said. Spencer Oliver, my co-host, sorry, my co-presenting team partner is myself, John Rawling, and Jim White as well, of White and Jordan fame. And I just thought I didn't see how Johnny Fisher got the result on two of those cards. It just did not apply for me. Spencer said it was diabolical. It's not a word I use for judging. I very, very, very rarely have used the word robbery, which John accused me of calling it. I didn't call it diabolical. I said the judging was a disgrace, and I stand by that. It was disgraceful. It was disgraceful that two judges saw it in round in favour of Johnny Fisher. He won the first four. He got hurt in the second and knocked down in the fifth and got knocked down. And after that, might have won one round, but there's no way for me that Dave Allen lost that fight. And that's all I said. And it wasn't anything. Johnny's resilience, his heart kept him in it and won him the fight. And I said all those things at the time. So even though John gets very high marks on your viral counter table, he was I won't say he's out of order because that's his son, but it was a very emotional. I was expecting to have a debate with him over it rather than him have a rant at me, but that's fine. That's his prerogative.
Have you
Doesn't
spoken
really.
since or no?
No, I mean, why am I going to ring up John? Why am I going to ring up John when he's behaving like that? Because I might get another earful. I don't really want another earful. He's emotional about his son going through a very tough battle. He's trying to denigrate me. I wasn't denigrating his son. And I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm banned from that house in Romford. But like I said, it's not where I do understand it is from the perspective of he's watched his son go through a very brutal 10 rounds, and that I understand. And that is, so I leave it at that.
Of course. Two more and then I'm done. Wednesday, we've actually got a really interesting fight in Australia. Opetaia, David Naika. What's your thoughts?
Well, it's a really good fight. Like you say, it's a better fight than the original one. Niika's take it on short notice. We know, I think he's won 2 Commonwealth golds, so he's got a very refined amateur pedigree. Olympic bronze, I think he was in 2021. So he's very confident. He talks really well. I've liked the look of him this week. Um, he's up against a very special character in Opetaia. I understand they've sparred before. I had dinner with Jai Opetaia and his father at the Ring Magazine launch I was on their table with them, the Ring Magazine launch in Riyadh, relaunch in Riyadh. And they said they've had some really good spars. So I think that's where Niika's confidence comes through. It's great to see him being busy. He was in camp over there, Jai, because he was there all week. He looks very confident. He's starting to F and blind a bit more, and we're seeing part of that very spiteful personality that comes out in the ring a little bit more outside the ring now. I think, I haven't watched a lot of Niika, but I hope he puts up a great battle. I hope it's a great fight. I shall be watching it Wednesday morning here, isn't it?
Yep.
Really I love it. I love getting the TV on a Wednesday morning, getting in my observation turret around the corner, my in front of the big TV, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think ring walks will be about 12:30, I think I read.
it's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well putting the time, and I was going to put the TV on about 10:30,
Yeah.
but obviously it's 10 hours difference or something, isn't it? So yeah, really looking forward to it. And obviously this year, if Opetaia wins that, and I do see him as a decent favourite in this, hopefully we get the undisputed fight with Zurdo Ramirez, the Golden Southpaw. I think Opetaia wins that, and then as we spoke about around the table, go up to heavyweight, my friend. Go up to heavyweight and fight Oleksandr Usyk. It's a fight we'd all love to see, or Daniel Dubois, or Joseph Parker, again, another great fight. I see Joseph's been jumping in on that and making comments. So, no, the beginning of the year, again, maybe at the behest of Riyadh season investment from the Saudi Arabians. Years ago, Jonathan, maybe 10 years ago, we never used to have many fights in January. And yet we've got a schedule replete with fights all the way up to March the whatever it is, March the 8th or something. I think it's March the 8th with Lauren Price and Tasha Jonas, who were on talkSPORT with myself and Adam Cattrall on Saturday night. I don't know if you've seen the video, but have you seen it?
I haven't watched it yet. I have seen it come up. I
They
will.
had a proper go at each other, and Tasha thought she'd sparred in the past with Price, but they haven't. It was another Price, a different Price. They really had a good go at each other. Neither of them are particularly nasty with trash talk, but I cannot wait for that fight at the Albert Hall. But in the meantime, I think Gervonta Davis is in action. You've got that incredible February 22nd card. Cattrall and Jack Cattrall and Barboza.
Yep.
Dalton Smith is in action. Adam Azim. I mean, it's a great start to the year, really, for all of us. And obviously, that February 22nd card, Hamza Shiraz, Joshua Buatsi, he was on the show with us on Saturday night. He's deep in training in San Francisco. Joshua Buatsi and Callum Smith, Carlos Adames, Hamza Shiraz, Agit Kabayel and Zhang, and Parker Dubois, and God, I haven't even mentioned it, Artur Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol, who I believe will complete 36 rounds this year, because I think Bivol probably will just do enough to pip it this time, and we'll get them for another 12 rounds. I mean, it's amazing. Anyone, I mean, I read a leader column in one of the boxing rags in one of the boxing magazines saying that the atmosphere in Saudi isn't right and the sport's being squeezed. Get a life. Boxing is alive and well. We don't know how long it's going to last in that frame, but come on, blooming heck, it's
Yeah,
it's
we
it's alive and well. It's thriving at the moment. It really is.
yeah, last year was pretty incredible. Lastly, uh, talking about viral moments, you and Carl Froch having it out in Dubai. I think you were both in Dubai. What was it like, finally coming face to face? I mean, look, you've covered him for years. I know you do get on, but yeah, what was it like?
He was shook to his boots. Behind the scenes, even though I let myself succumb to him because he had a bad back and he beat me up on the beach, the bastard. Um, he was shaking to his boots, baby. No, it was
Nice.
great to catch up with him. We
Yeah.
also got him on air in Riyadh because he came to Riyadh and he actually really enjoyed it out there. No, it was fun to catch up with him. It's great. He's a great character, Carl, and he's doing great things for sport. He's getting people listening. Obviously, he's very much a purist in the way he does things. His only issue with me was not supporting Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. But you watch, if I get him into a ring with Jake Paul with one hand tied behind his back, we shall see.
Mm, we shall. Gareth, appreciate it. Obviously, you got the Call of the Warrior in the back, your book. I'll put a link in the
You
description.
bought it. Thank you very much for buying it. By the way, did you
Yeah,
have you had a look at it at
yeah,
all?
I have, I have. I like the I found the stories about the Hearns very interesting. That's what I found.
Well, how
But
his
it's all good.
dad
It's all
went to
good.
look at the new home from Maskell's where
Yeah,
their where business is, and as they were going up to the house with his wife Susan to buy it, he passed a cricket ground, and when he found out the cricket ground was on part of his land and that he owned the cricket ground, he said, "We're buying the fucking house," even before he saw the house. Quite
yeah,
amazing, isn't it? No,
yeah,
the idea is you look at the pictures first in that book because they are astonishing um, by Sonia Jasinski, Carlo Chianti, Chris Floyd, and Louis Kassam. But then you hopefully read the stories afterwards.
yeah. They're very good. So I'll put a
Please
link in.
you like it.
What's up?
Please you like it.
I'll put a link in the description. Gareth, I'll see you soon. Appreciate it.